Hey, hey, Cyndilu, coming to you live all the way from New Zealand. I am the founder of Be Bold You, where we help you to take life's twists and turns and make something beautiful out of them so that you can live life out loud and be bold you. I am so excited today to be joined by Angela Glass. She is from Washington State and she has the Eka Yoga Studio, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about what that is. It's more than just yoga. And there's this wonderful Ayurveda that she is going to help us to understand because I don't understand it. And I hope I said it right. She was teaching that to me earlier. And if any of you need to take a deep breath and get a little grounding, she did that with me right before we went on the air, and that really helped. So thank you so much, Angela, and welcome. Tell a little more about yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Cyndilu. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Angela. I am from Seattle. Originally, I'm from the Midwest, so I'm from Wisconsin, but I've been out on the West Coast for about 10 years now. How I discovered yoga is the first yoga class I ever took was in college, and I absolutely hated it. I hated it so much. Because it was the first time I had to be alone with my thoughts. And I actually kept going to take the yoga classes because I was a cheap college student and I was going to get my money's worth. I bought a package, so I kept going. And then I realized it started to help me with insomnia, which I had a lot of. Like I would go days in college without sleeping. I noticed that it was starting to help with back and hip issues that I had since I was a kid. So I just kept going. And then someone asked me if I wanted to be a teacher at the college one day, because I was going every single day. And I was like, sure. I never thought about it, but sure. And so they did this little training program. And this is, mind you, in the Midwest over 10 years ago. So yoga was a very rare occasion, or there weren't a lot of studios like there are today. So anyway, I started teaching, and then one weekend we had a workshop where a professor that had studied in India came and she taught us more about yoga, so more of the philosophy and the medical side of it, and it blew my mind. And I was like, you know what? I love this. I'm going to India. I was determined to go, and 2 years later, I went, and I've been there twice now to study both yoga and Ayurveda. And it's both of I guess they're called sister sciences, but both of them have totally changed my life. And that's why I teach them now, because I want others to have that.
Wow, that's pretty amazing that you've gone to India twice for your training. That blows my mind. So was India beautiful and lovely and wonderful? And
you know what? I loved it. Everyone has their own opinion. It is dirty, but I loved it. I love the colors. I love the food. And it depends what parts you go to, just like the US, right?
Right.
I feel like each part of the US could be its own country. It's the same with India. Every part has their pros and their cons. And but I loved it.
What part of India were you in?
So I was mainly in the south. I studied in Goa, which is actually kind of a beach town. And then I went to a little further north, and what direction is that? East. And I saw temples and castles and went into the jungle, and yeah.
Wow. What an experience.
Yeah.
So what is Ayurveda? Like a lot of people now, as you said, yoga was, something that wasn't really big 10 years ago, but a lot of people now go and do yoga and experience that. But Ayurveda, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. You're not the only one. So Ayurveda is known as the sister science or the medical side of yoga. So traditionally, they were developed together. So Ayurveda is actually where yoga stems from. So it's this way of healing, and everyone in India uses it. They don't even think of it as necessarily a medical system, but it's just a way you live life. So they call it the common sense science. It believes that we are all unique. We all have our own unique body mind type, and that by knowing that, we can better cater to our bodies and minds to create balance. So, and Ayurveda believes that everything in the universe is made up of the 5 elements, which are air, space, fire, water, and earth, and that's including us. So by paying attention to these elements when they're in excess or depletion in our body, we can decide what to eat, how to exercise, what essential oils to use, how to generally move our bodies. When we are born with, they call it your prakruti. So it's your combination of the elements at the time of birth. And this will never change. So when we know this kind of tells us what we're going to be good at, and also where we might experience more imbalances. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's very similar to what I'm putting together from the biblical standpoint. So it's very interesting to see it from a different angle.
Yeah, and I saw you writing about that. That's why I was so interested too.
Yeah, we were kind of looking at what is she doing? What is she doing? What is this about?
So with Ayurveda, there are 3 different body mind types, and they're referred to as doshas. There's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata is the elements of air and space. Pitta is fire and water. Kapha is earth and water. Now, Vata, air and space, if you think of those elements, air is this moving element. So when we feel our mind is unfocused or distracted, that might be a Vata imbalance, right? That moving energy. But this can also be our creativity. So it's not bad, right? None of them are bad or good. We need all of them, but just imbalance. So people that are more Vata dominant, they tend to be more creative. They tend to move a lot. They are more excited, more happy. But then they're also more prone, if that movement's in excess, more prone to anxiety and insomnia, and even depression. And can you decide which, or tell which one I am? I'm like, woo. So I'm Vata. Okay. But so knowing that helps me, work better, because I know I have a more creative side. So I like to work on more creative things. Then there's Pitta, and Pitta is fire and water, which is predominantly fire. And people that are Pitta dominant, if you think of that fire element, right, people are usually a little spicy. Fire is sharp. So people that are more direct, people that are more intelligent. Sometimes Pitta people are better at numbers and things where you have to be very precise. If that fire is imbalanced, though, they can be easily irritated or angered. They might be more prone to experiencing inflammation within the body. So heartburn, acid reflux, acne. They're actually more prone to balding in early grain as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I could tell you a lot about each of them. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. But then there's Kapha, which is earth and water. And if you think of those elements, they're very heavy. And if you mix earth and water, you get mud. And so Kaphas, while they're more the lovers and the nurturers, they're very grounded and just soft and lovey, right? Like a big teddy bear. But when they're in balance, that sticky consistency of mud, they get more prone to congestion. So phlegm within the chest and the throat. They're more prone to attachment. So that could be people, places, things. They have a hard time moving on. And then they have a hard time getting motivated, right? They have that grounded element, which kind of keeps them stuck.
Let me just be here in the moment.
Yes. So yeah, that's Ayurveda in a nutshell.
All righty. Very good. I think I'm a little of all 3. So is it very similar to the personality, the 4 main types in the personalities that I work with? Mm-hmm. People have a little of all of them in them, but they're primarily one or the other.
Yes, you are correct. And so, like I said, we're born with our prakriti. So that's our combination of those when we're born. And most of us are dominant in one. It's very rare for someone to be across the board, even with all of them. But because the universe consists of the five elements, we consist of the five elements, we can experience imbalances depending on what's going on in our life. So stress, traumatic events, the season. So right now in the northern hemisphere, it's fall. So we call this Vata season because there is more of that wind element. It tends to be cooler and drier, which are all qualities of Vata. So that can make anyone, no matter what their dosha is, imbalanced. And then say for winter, it's tends to be heavier and cooler outside, right, where we kind of hunker down. So we all are more prone to those kapha imbalances.
It's really funny because before you came on, I was like, these are the questions I'm going to ask, but I don't want you to answer them now. It really was today doing this. It's going to be a podcast also for those listening on the podcast, and welcome.
Awesome.
So the reason I wanted to kind of uncover this with my listeners and discover exactly what Ayurveda is, just because I'd never heard of it. And I have a feeling that a lot of people listening have not heard of it. So is there a spiritual side of that? Or is that the yoga piece?
Well, it's all connected. So what's happened now in the West is people just take out what they want, right? There's lots of different pieces. Like there's spiritual centers, there's yoga centers, there's holistic healing centers. But traditionally it's meant to be all together, right? So Ayurveda also believes like our mental health is just as important as our physical health, and it's all connected. And we know that, right? If we stubbed our big toe and it's throbbing, right? That's all we're going to think about. Or if we're thinking about something, right? If we're nervous in our mind, right? We might feel that in our belly. So it really plays on that too. And when I have people come to me for consultations, we connect all of it. Like I ask them like how their poop is, but I also ask them, how they're feeling mentally, emotionally, how is work? Like we get into the nitty gritty of everything that might be affecting them. And depending, who comes to the consultation, if they're open to it, we might discuss spirituality and talk about different meditations or, cleansing their house or different other spiritual tools that they could use to help their mental health.
But they can come to you and purely do that medical side if they wanted to.
Right. And we'll still work on mindfulness, right? But I won't include the spiritual tools. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. See, the Be Bold You system is so similar to what you're doing. It's really quite interesting. It is basing it in the Bible and biblically based, because that's what my spirituality is and what I share with people. And it's looking at your body, your mind, your spirit, and your movement. Because I think that Christians especially have like separated the spiritual from the physical, from the mental. We've become disjointed people. And what I am wanting to do with the Be Bold You is to help people to become self-aware themselves, to become a person who can see where they are and where they're going and where they need help and where to find people to help them. So for somebody who is not biblically based, they may find that Ayurveda does exactly the same kind of things that I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is.
The healing arts outside of medical field, and you do medical based things, but it's still outside of the traditional Western medical field.
Right.
Is quite an interesting place to be in this time. Do you find that to be so?
Yeah, it's been, so when I first opened the studio, opening a yoga studio is one thing, and then doing it with Ayurveda. So our yoga classes are based off of these 3 body types because each body type needs a different type of movement to find balance. So everyone's like, you're crazy. How are you going to explain that to people? Like, and I'm like, I don't know, but people need it. They need it. And we've done it. Like, and I have other teachers, so we kind of have an elevator pitch when we have new students come in. But it's been really crazy to watch it grow, especially on the West Coast. If you think a few months ago, there was a whole page on Ayurveda in the Seattle Times. So it's coming about, and so more people, I think, are getting irritated with the Western medical system and looking for more holistic ways to heal their bodies and minds.
It's still blowing my mind how similar our
No,
stuff. And you kept saying that. You're like, what you're doing is like, it lines up with this here, and
yeah,
hearing our different charts and things. So that will be really interesting when I start putting the book together and really bringing it all into one place. I'll have to have you read through it and see.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, it's very, very intriguing. And mine came like it was dropped in my lap, literally dropped in my lap. Like I got one of the graphics in 2015, I think. And then I'm building it backwards. I'm now uncovering this graphic that was downloaded to me. And, it's been an amazing walk.
I can't wait to take a look at it.
Yeah. So is there anything, so tell me your question, why is it so awesome? Like, what is it that makes it so awesome?
I think because anybody can do it. I say if I did it and I healed my body and my mind, anyone can do it. And again, it's this common sense science. So coming to me for a consultation or a yoga class is great. But really, if you think of every element and kind of the qualities it holds, if you are experiencing those qualities, all you have to do to fix yourself is bring in the opposite qualities. It's so simple, right? So if you are feeling light and unfocused, if you go eat a salad, right, you're going to feel light and unfocused. So you want to eat maybe a sweet potato or a piece of fish, something that's going to ground you. So, and we can do that with all aspects.
I'm sorry, you just blew my mind. So you literally take, how are you feeling? And say, what do you want to eat? I'm sorry, that just like, whoa.
So you can do it with everything then. So it's like, again, I'm going to use the unfocused because I feel like we live in this social media society. So we have the attention of a goldfish.
ADD
Everybody
is like prevalent because we're just all on our things for a minute and then we get, it's
right. So, yeah. So we need grounding food. So that might be, we need to just sit down for a minute and take that deep breath like we did before our talk. That might mean eating more grounding, warming, nourishing foods. Because think about it too, when we have that nervous or that scattered energy, our body also does like this. But think about when you eat something that's warm and I always say snuggly, like warm and cooked and spicy. It's kind of like this, right? It grounds us. It makes us feel good and nourished. So that's what we can do with food. And then for our yoga practice, the yoga practice that I teach is very slow and grounding and close to the earth, but still cultivates heat. So it's very focused, right? Trying to get out of our head.
Wow. It is awesome. I may have to explore this a little bit more.
Yeah.
And because it really is lining up with what I want to do, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. You can ask any questions you want. Anytime.
Yeah. So I have these, we're coming to the end of our time. We've gone 20 minutes already. Can you believe it?
Wow.
So I have these 10 questions that I ask everybody who comes on the show just to kind of wrap it up and have it be a little bit of a Be Bold You kind of thing to learn a little bit more about you, but outside of the box of what you necessarily do every day. So are you ready? 10 questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you consider yourself more introverted or extroverted?
Oh, introverted. Yeah.
It is so funny. Almost every person that I've interviewed has been introverted. Like I've had like one or two extroverts. Isn't that amazing? Online, we're all introverted.
I can go and teach in front of a bunch of people and talk, but then I need to come home and sleep for an entire day.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I'm 50-50. Like, and I didn't know that for a long time. So I would be out with people, people are going to be going nuts. Or I would be home all the time and I'd be going nuts. And so I'm like, this is crazy, you know, introverted, extrovert. I'm supposed to, like, one of these is supposed to energize me. And it's it's literally a 50% combination of each.
Interesting.
So I have to really watch, you know, am I with people too long? And do I need more rest? Yeah. So it's quite interesting. What phrase or quote encourages you the most?
My most recent one is I saw Shia LaBeouf or what, I don't know. He's some actor. I forgot his last name. Shia LaBeouf. Somebody's going to know who I'm talking about. But he did this motivation. Well, I don't know if it's pretend or real, but he's just like, just do it. Just do it. So me and my husband keep saying that to each other, even if it's like unloading the dishwasher. We're like, I don't want to do it. We're like, just do it.
It takes so much less time to just do it.
I know. It does.
It's so funny. What is your favorite color?
Teal or green.
All right. And what energizes you?
You know what? Walks in the sunshine. Simple as that.
I love that. What has been your favorite age?
Oh, that's I'm really happy in my 30s right now. I think I'm feeling the healthiest and happiest I've been. Yeah.
That's awesome. And what book are you reading right now if you're a book reader?
I am reading, where'd it go? I thought I had it next to me. It's called How to Balance Your Hormones. So it's about women's health and hormones.
Oh, exciting. Very exciting.
I know. I'm not going to lie. I do switch off between trashy romance novels and and like biographies and then like health. So I do a nice rotation between all of them.
Very fun. What's the most exotic place you've ever visited or wish to visit if you don't feel like you've visited any? Oh, you will have, though. You went to India.
Yeah. And I'm not going to use India. I think it's going to be an island off of Thailand. It was called Koh Chang, but not the popular one.
Ooh.
There's no docks. So they're like, you take a boat there and they're like, we're here. You have to jump in the water and they toss you your bags. And we're like, okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty exotic.
It was great.
How long were you there?
We stayed on the island for about a week and a half. Yeah.
Must have been amazing.
It was great. And there's no electricity. They have generators to run things at night, but no electricity. So it was great.
Do you create to live or live to create?
Oh, live to create. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
It's like you eat to live or live to eat, right? It's that question only with
I think I live to create. Yes.
Name a person or the person who has had the most influence in your life, whether they're dead or alive, it doesn't matter.
I don't know about influence. I guess motivated by or inspired by.
Sure.
I'm going to say Bruce Springsteen.
Really?
Yeah. He is just like, he has done so many wonderful things and he's still this really down to earth, grounded human being that just cares about people. And
I love it.
Yeah.
So have you met him?
I have. I went to a book signing. It was like pure luck. I didn't cry at my own wedding, but I cried when I met Bruce Springsteen.
I love it. So, and what one word describes you best?
I would say quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great word.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Is there any one last thing that you'd like to say or share with anybody that's listening, either on live or the podcast?
Well, if you are listening to this right now, if you're interested, next week I am actually running a free 7-day chakra loves challenge. And chakras are just energy channels within our body. So if you want to learn more about the chakra system and digging a little deeper to get to know yourself, you should head to the website and sign up for my challenge.
All right. And we'll put a comment in there. We'll have you put a comment in there with your Facebook page, your Instagram, and your website. That'd be great. So if people want to connect with you, they can. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, whether live or on the podcast. We really appreciate you. And we are going to head on out of here for the day. Remember to always live life out loud and be bold you.